Scouts everywhere.
At 500 point, anything that has a free heroic combat is fight 6 or higher is incredibly hard to stop.
The weight of dice can just be so overwhelming.
You're going to be the quickest. I think there's a reason though that it's suddenly become a bit more successful and popular than it was.
Oh.
Sam, you're literally Frodo right now.
He's the hero.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gollum's Gamers and to the October edition of MESBG Monthly, which is a series where myself and Ali, who joins me today for the Spotify listeners, aim to keep you all updated on all things MESBG from the previous and upcoming month. Now, before we get underway, I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning into the Lemon Cup live stream that I did a couple of weeks ago now. I've done a number of these tournament live streams on the channel now, and I'll be doing another one later this year. So I've made a feedback form as I'm keen to kind of hear people's thoughts on what they think about the stream. So if you've watched any of the streams before and have a few minutes to fill the form out, it's linked down in the description. I would really appreciate your feedback. As always, though, you can find us on Instagram and Spotify by following the links in the description down below. And also, please consider subscribing to us here on YouTube if you enjoy everything that we do here on the channel. So we will kick things off today with Of Dice and Men, which was a GBHL 100 at 500 points, which happened earlier last month. Now, it's worth noting here that the list you're seeing on the screen is 524 points. That's because at this particular tournament, you were allowed to take a free banner. So he's added the banner into the list there, but it's not actually included in the points, so it's 500 points. So in the number one position, we have Jamie Wiggins, arch nemesis of the Gollum's Gamers, with Lurtz's Scouts. In second, we have Stephen Denby with Ravagers of the Shire from our arch nemesis in the team rankings. Any heroics in the second place position in the team rankings, which we'll come on to later. And then in third place, it's Natalie Pearson with a GBHL 100 podium here using the...
I feel like you have to say Natalie as an arch nemesis now for something.
So it's Scouts everywhere. They're just flying all over the place, which we'll come on to a little bit later. But Lurtz's Scouts, though, we haven't seen this one before. The big, beefy Lurtz, the Fight 6 free combating Lurtz, is not to be messed with. What do we think of this one? 33 models at 500 points. Ali King.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. Is it worth mentioning as well at the event, everyone got a free banner. So if it looks like it's
Ali,
25...
I literally just said...
Did you say that?
Brother is zoning out. The viewers are like, right, yeah, it's a free banner. Right, I literally explained that entire thing for about 30 seconds.
Did you?
1 minute ago. Fine.
I missed that. Put it this way, it shows how much I pay attention to you.
He's working at the same time.
But no, actually, I was reading the rules off on Let's Scouts more than anything. But yeah, no, straight off the bat, other than not listening to Elliot, 33 models is quite a good model count at sort of 500 points. Most armies are going to struggle to get over 30 models, especially if they have a reasonable solid hero.
But I guess it's worth saying, so if you take away the free banner and you pay for a banner, you lose 3 models. So
yeah,
it would
so it'd be 30, but still, it's not a horde, but it's also not,
not really low.
Yeah, and
it's
your
sort of,
troops
it's in
are
a
still
little bit of a interesting sort of position there, where like you don't have loads of them, but they're low defense, so it's like you can't really afford to lose too many. But that can happen. But
then you are elite-ish troops, and that you're strength 4 and fight 4. So you will be certainly better in terms of your one-on-one troops than anyone who outnumbers you, and even a lot of the other armies. But yeah, no. So yeah, it's a good model count. You are, which is very important at low points. You also have speed because you're all basically movement 8. I think they all are movement 8, yeah. And get the woodland creature special rule.
All the heroes have march as well.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to get to any objectives you need. You're going to be really difficult to deal with in scenarios like recon or destroy the supplies or sort of any of those, because your whole army can cover the board quicker than pretty much any other army you're going to play against. with maybe the exception of Eagles. However, I'm pretty sure this event had a minimum model count.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, so that probably ruled out the Eagles. So it's kind of there going, you're going to be the quickest, and you're not going to be outnumbered by much by most armies. So
no, I do wonder though. I don't think Ugluck's head taker raw, or the one that gives you the +1 to wound, I don't think he can use that in this list because it's for orcs.
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I think it's orcs. He can kill a friendly orc warrior within 2 inches of him.
Yeah, which isn't
kill model as a casualty. So it's just, but that's a nice piece of sort of tech about his profile, which is now sort of not a thing in this list.
I think you're more taking him though because he's a free might hero who's fairly cheap in this list.
Yes, which is good. And he still has the new head taker rule, which is he can kill a warrior models. He can use that for the auto pass courage, and it's 12-inch. So I don't know. Does Lurtz have like a 12-inch stand fast or something? No, surely not.
I don't think he does.
No. Okay. So that's pretty nice for Ugluck still to have for 75 points. And then Lurtz. So I mean, just he's Lurtz's. We know and love him, but now he's fight 6, got a free combat. I mean, just chucking him around at strength 5 with a load of move 8 Uruk-hai is a pretty nice sort of bit of kit to have added in for this list.
At 500 point, anything that has a free heroic combat and is fight 6 or higher is incredibly hard to stop, especially when he's pretty resilient. He's maybe only D6, but it means most troops that won't be super friendly to him. He does have 3 wounds and the fate point, but it's kind of, you have to try and take him out. But unlike, say, if you were to have I don't know, let's go for a helm list or a foreign list or something like that, you've actually got the numbers to back it up. Because if you had that 500 points to go for one of those, you're probably looking at low 20s at best.
Pretty low.
And actually his is, he just gets to do it all the time. Another thing that I hadn't mentioned is this has actually got quite a lot of reasonable shooting in it. So while there are no spears, you do have 10 Uruk bows, which are strength 3 bows. And because you are so fast at moving, you're not that limited as much by the range. And so you'll be able to chip away the model count of a lot of armies.
Moving half and sort of skirmish a little bit. No, what I was going to say was that I like as well with the free combat, they've made it just a free combat. It doesn't have the you need to charge sort of thing.
That's basically literally what I just
this edition.
a minute ago.
You didn't say that, did you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did.
No, just,
I was drawing that. It's
you were saying compared to
Thorin.
Oh, I heard you said a bit about Thorin, but I thought that was about the model count. Okay, I missed that a little bit. I was obviously thinking.
No, you're just getting your revenge on me not listening to you.
That's it. No, I must say, I'm not like the biggest fan of that change in the new edition. Like, I get why it's there. It's sort of, but especially for someone like that who's just like you're meant to be, chucking him around, just having the auto combat, I think is really nice. They didn't sort of nerf it a little bit. They've gone for the full.
I think without it in this list, it cannot really function in a way because you don't have the spear supports, which aren't essential, but
you can really slingshot things around.
Yeah, you need one that is reliably able to punch through enemy lines and do those kills. So you can effectively in this list go, you've got your guys with your shields, you can shield in the front, or you've got the banner in range, and then use your speed, outflank, take away enemy spear spots, put as many one-on-ones as possible, and then Lurtz that can do Lurtz things, and then even Ugluck and the scout captain are both fight 5, strength 5, so they can take on troops and they can do the killing. But this list, if Lurtz is to go down, you'll be struggling.
Yes, yeah. So you do need to be careful with him. D6, 3 wounds, like we said, 1 fate though. But kind of a move 8, he could be pretty hard to sort of pin down when you're combating. You can get him out of dodge and things like that. So very well done to Mr. Wiggy there with his return to the GBHL 100 podium position, the top position at that. In second place though, it's Mr. Denby. Now we shall come on to how this all affects the rankings a little bit later on, as it's sad news for the Gollum's gamers, indeed. But the Ravagers of the Shire at 500 points. I haven't actually seen the list, but we saw, I think Jakob podiumed at Dewey's event earlier this year with Ravagers, I think, as well, or he did pretty well with it. So it's just like an orc spam list, isn't it? With Golfimble and like an orc captain and shaman and stuff, isn't it? I don't think there's anything else
usually some variation on that. So it's Golfimble, orc captains, or shamans are the only heroes you can take.
Okay. Sure.
Again, Golfimble, while he's not lurks, similar to what we mentioned, he gets free hero combat each turn. So he may only be fight 4, but it still is a potential free shenanigan you've got going on. He's got his 5+ to ignore wound special rule for being an impressive girth, I think is the way that they refer to it.
The girth is impressive.
So he's not super resilient and he's not super fighty, but he's not just gonna die to anything, you would hope.
No.
And
but then also
has some threat.
The orcs in this as well get the +1 to wound when they're fighting against models that are outnumbered. So
which is the main thing.
But,
because when you've got, because of like your Golfumble's your most expensive hero, and if you put him on a wild 65 points, and then you're just getting orcs, you're gonna be pushing quite a high model count, like one of the highest at the events, with the exception of maybe Hobbits or something like that.
I'm actually checking the list as we speak. Oh, does it not have a? Oh, it's 50 models.
Yeah, so we're on about Scouts isn't too bad model count.
Yeah,
these guys are outnumbering them by 17, and it's
that's with 6 Warg Riders as well, which is just nice to have in there. Warg Riders are super good.
So you're outnumbering most people. As soon as you're outnumbering, you're actually killing. Like even dwarves, once you get +1 to wound against them, are going to go down under those numbers. Mortal orcs actually aren't that bad, to be honest. They're fight 3, strength 4, strength 3 D4, sorry, for like pretty reasonable points. So you're out fighting goblins, which is kind of often been quite key at low points with how the meta's been. Not always, depending on where the battle goes, but it means that you've got that fight value advantage over them. It is a list where if anything dies, you don't really mind too much. Golfimble, it's nice having him around, and he obviously counts as VPs in most scenarios, but there's no linchpin holding it together so much.
It's just a spam. The orcs, if they win fights, are probably going to be pretty good at killing stuff. Most troop choices in the game. And it's 50 models, so it's just a really big call at 500 points. So well done to Mr. Denby there for a second place finish there. And then finally, in third, we have Natalie Pearson with the Usurpers of Edoras. Now, it's worth noting as well that in fourth place, Connor Morris, with a little mention here, also had Usurpers of Edoras. He was using a list with Frecker and just 3 Hill Tribes Chieftains, but it was Natalie who has less models, only 40 compared to 46, but she has Wolf and only 1 Hill Tribes Chieftain, so going for Wolf at the 500 point mark. 40 models, only 2 Crebain compared to Connor's 4, so less Crebain and Wolf equals better at low points. You know, Wolf is sort of, there's not going to be too much sort of stopping him at low points mounted. Like, he's a pretty good, mounted hero to kind of, chop up some troops.
Yeah, so, I mean, is one better than the other? It's kind of probably dependent on who they played on the day.
Of course.
But we've mentioned Usurpers before, and again, these are both another, like, high model count sort of hoardy lists. Frecker obviously gives you the fight 4 bubble, which really makes a difference. On the difference between Wolf and no Wolf, I think it comes down to your playstyle. Like, Wolf gives you a model, for example, that could take on like Lurtz and come out on top fairly reliably. Without him, you're then relying on dice scores.
You're kind of at Lurtz's peril, really.
Yeah.
How well is he going to roll on his combats? Is he just going to churn through Hill Tribesmen, wounding on 3s because he's strength 5, D3?
Yeah.
So he could just mop up and then,
Yeah, and it wouldn't be just Lurtz, but other heroes going around.
Yes.
But then equally, having more models and more Crebain that's more stuff for people to kill, and also the Crebain could I mean, we're going to keep referring to Lurtz because Lurtz won the event, but you could just top it Lurtz for like 2 turns with Rukobane potentially.
No,
so
fair.
It's a bit but no, I mean, we've talked about it before. Usurpers is a very solid list. It has an actual scary amount of killing and threat to enemy heroes because of the +1 to wound. And yeah, it's just solid.
You've got the 6-up save as well in there. So, and like over the game, if you're rolling some Rivendell dice, or your new Hill Tribesman dice, which we will come on to, like having some models stay around is nice in some, key situations. And the Hill Tribes Chieftains as well. Obviously, kind of taking 3 of those is, taking more advantage of that. So, yeah, that's there as well. But yeah, really, really strong.
It does massively highlight, I think, all of these, though, that low points, low model count armies outside of like an Eagle or Monster Meta strong.
Yeah, any sort of elite sort of troop like elves and dwarves and things we're just not seeing at these low points. So, okay, well, we shall leave it there for Of Dice and Men held in Ripon, and we shall move on to the most lemon event in the GBHL 2025 calendar. It is now behind us. It is, of course, the Lemon Cup, our very first GBHL 100, which went super, super well. Thank you to everyone that obviously attended, everyone that watched the live stream. It's up on the channel if you want to go and check out games. We had 6 really good games on the stream over the weekend, and we hope to see everyone either at the event or on the live stream for 2026. But looking at the podium spots, at the top spot, again, we hate to see this. As members of the Gollum's Gamers and also our keen viewers who are rooting for us to win the league, it's Stephen Denby winning the Lemon Cup with more scouts. The scouts keep on scouting, and yeah, it's Ugluck Scouts this time though. In the top spot at 777 points, which you love and hate to see at the same time. Moving on, we have Alex King in second place with the Depths of Moria, which we also hate to see. Not Alex, but the Depths of Moria. Who wants to see more Balrogs on the GBHL 100 podiums? I, for one, do not. Go on.
Yeah. It is. Depths of Moria is statistically the most successful list in the league at the moment, based on how many podiums it's won.
Yes.
By actually a reasonable distance.
Yes,
and
it's
it
tough.
Continues to go strong.
Yeah, I just find it pretty boring. It's just Balrog and 60 goblins. Yeah, have fun. Anyway, that's a separate conversation. And then finally, we have Jake Duluhi with his Last Alliance, which I love to see. I was talking about it on the stream, on the preview podcast that we did for the Lemon Cup as well. We talked about this list, and yeah, really, really good to see it get on to the podium. So, kicking things off, Ali, we have Denby's Scouts. The Scouts are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. What do you think?
I mean, Ugluck Scouts has probably been the most successful, yet often it kind of seems like just part of the furniture, like army across not just this edition, but since it existed last edition. Yeah. They've always been around there and stuff like that. And even when like looking at to when I've been going to the Nations Cup or stuff like that, they're nearly always one of the armies that like is, if not used, definitely in conversation for people to use. And quite a lot of people have had success with them. So obviously Denby now, and then sort of David Clubley has done in the past and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it podiumed into the West, I think, as well at the start of the year.
Yeah. So but why is that? Why do you think, Elliot?
It's just, I mean, so looking at this higher point variant of it, I saw Denby use this, or I think it might have been at 800 points at Hitia Kings earlier this year. And I saw that list again. So this one here with Denby is 62 models, which is Ugluck for the Spotify listeners. Ugluck, Malher, a Uruk-hai Scout captain, and 2 Orc captains. He's got 2 banners in there. No drum, as it won't affect the Orcs, but obviously he's got March everywhere with 11 might. I'd assume there's more warband space, so for 800, it might have just been a few more troops. I think it was like 67 models or something like that. And I saw him take that list, and I knew the Scouts was good, because obviously it podiumed into the West, and I saw him using it. I thought, that is surely just 67, 68 Scouts. Like, if you have a elite list at 42 models or something, like you're just gonna get overwhelmed. Like it has enough spears there for the battle line, and then you have a spare like 20 to 30 scouts or something just like roaming around, with heroes there to call moves and things, and you can't be everywhere all at once to sort of fight it. The troops are the same and they do the same things as they do at lower points. Obviously you've got the orcs in here for the animosity, but it can kill almost anything in the game, at +2 to wound potential, +3 wound potential with the Uruk-hai Scout Captain. Like, it can deal with big monsters. You're just waiting for it to fluff, and you can take them down. And just with that many models against sort of more regular armies, you've just got so many troops. Go on.
The way I'd phrase it, it's a horde army which can kill you and is also fight for. Like it's there going. The two drawbacks usually for most horde armies is that they're normally only about strength 3.
Yeah.
They die easy, which admittedly you don't get over D5 here, so you're not like overly resilient.
No.
And they can't kill, sort of being a big one. Here's with the Aminosity special rule, you're getting the +1 to wound if you got both Orc and Uruk-hai. Sometimes can be a bit harder to get that going, but when lines start fracturing, you can get that going a lot. But I actually think this edition, especially the ability for Ugluk to give the Uruk-hai that +1 to wound and fearless bubble, it helps just solve so many of those potentially early game issues that you may have had with this list previously. And now it's there going, cool, I can charge in and I will kill. And it's sort of there going. And meanwhile, I'm going to use, again, my numbers and my ridiculous speed to, like we were on about for Lurtz Scouts earlier, swamp man the flanks, take off spear supports, start getting the outnumbered animosity from there, or go run and capture objectives and stuff like that.
And it's just like the weight of dice as well. Like even if it's not the +1 from Ugluk, like the weight of dice can just be so overwhelming if you're trapping and everything. Like you might not even need the +1 because you're strength 4 on Uruk-hai. You're trapping with 3 or 4 models on dwarves or something. Like sure, the orcs might need 6s by 4. Like you just have a lot of dice and 20 plus more models than your opponent's list. Like it's just such an advantage to work with. It's sort of, there's still obviously some skill to using the list. Like you've got to be careful with the heroes and all that sort of thing. But like for objective scenarios and all this sort of stuff, you can just be in so many different places at the same time.
You also, talking objectives, you've also actually got the dominant 2 special where you can, if you're playing something like hold ground or that, suddenly it
literally put it out the middle with Ugluk.
This list does a bit more, like in terms of if we're going through its weaknesses and stuff like that. If you can take out Ugluk early, you then lose a lot of your.
But like Demby's just literally putting him.
So you can just put hiding behind
3 ranks of models.
Yeah, which is what you do. If you can remove the Uruk-hai with shooting, or just a first turn blitz. So I know when I've played it before, I've intentionally just done heroic combats to kill those Uruk-hai, and then suddenly they're losing the fight for and the potential for aminosity or the +1 to wound from Ugluk. I think there's a reason though that it's suddenly become a bit more successful and popular than it was sort of in the first half of this year, and it's because we've got all the new scenarios now. So whereas all the majority of the last scenarios was very favourable for shooting, it kind of meant that if you were having your Dales or like even elf shooting armies and stuff like that, they were suffering and losing those numbers a bit more. Whereas now a lot of the scenarios don't have that sort of same mechanic either. Everyone's having to run to the middle or stuff like that.
There's lots of movement.
There's probably a lot more favourable scenarios for them now than there used to be.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, people still doing well at the start of the edition, and now obviously with the new scenarios, it's sort of taken a step forward. It seems not only Ugluk Scouts, but Scouts in general. So an amazing profile. The Uruk-hai Scout, the humble Uruk-hai Scout. And he was actually using my model, so really, we should get at least half of the 100 points that any heroic
Scout, and it was our event, so we should get the other half as well.
Exactly. So we'll just take the 100 points. Nice one.
Yeah.
Cheers, Denby. Okay, well, it was Alex King with the Depths Warrior that Denby beat in the final game to take the 100 points. I mean, what is there to say? Depths of Moria.
I can say we can take half the points here as well because Alex is using half of my name. So,
well, more than half, really. I mean, he's got the A from Ali as well, so
and the L,
and the L. I should say. So really,
we're like 2 letters off.
98% of those points as well. Fine. Yes.
It's depressing for my brother now that he's not even the second most successful king in the league.
Shout out, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, just to clarify, me and Alex aren't actually related, but
they're not. No, before anyone starts coming for us. But yes, the Depths of Moria. Give us a 30-second summary on why this is good for anyone who has been sleeping under a rock.
Balrog, lots of models, board wide banner.
10 really.
Yeah.
+1/-1 courage, also board wide.
Yeah.
You outnumber everything. Yeah, the Balrog.
No, there's quite a lot of situations where the Balrog is just unkillable for like most armies. And as soon as that's unkillable, you have to win the scenario to do that.
There are lots of lists which maybe have a big leader or something that could, if you got it all surrounded and you struck up and you did get to 10 and you did win, you could kill it. But you can't afford to go for that because if you lose, your big centerpiece leader or whoever that may be just dies and then you lose the game. So in a sense, you could potentially kill it, but you can't really risk it.
The problem is because you're also in a turn, even when you're like, oh cool, let's go for it, you can't, unless if you've got auto pass courage, you can't guarantee that you even get enough people in to do those troops. Weirdly, I've got scouts is probably one that could do it. Because 100%. Of where he can, you can get the +2 to wound.
At Dewey's event, at 550, I think it was. It was like a 42 model list against the Balrog, and I had it surrounded for like 4 turns, and he just kept on not fluffing. So then by the time he did finally fluff on like turn 5, he'd killed all my Urukai from the first 4 turns of not fluffing, and then there was nothing I could do. So if it fluffs early and you do get it surrounded or something against a list like Scouts, where it's got the +1, +2 potential and stuff, then we didn't actually need to kill the Balrog to win that game. But a list like that does certainly have that sort of.
It is one of those ones where you'd possibly could go for it, but you've got to clear the goblins away first, and by that point, you're kind of starting to look low on resources or models and stuff like that. Yes. And you're usually safer not to risk it.
So I would personally like to see some sort of FAQ on the Depths of Moria in February.
I think it's the banner reroll board wide that really needs changing.
But I think because they've said that sort of there's not enough sort of information at the moment this early in the edition to make changes. Fair enough. I would think by the February FAQ there's been a year. You could look at the entire year's worth of sort of the
Depths of Moria is still the most successful.
Yes, and it's like, I think by that point, we don't want another year next year of Depths just being the same as it is. So I would like to see that for sure, and that is when the next FAQ is. So that's Depths. And then finally, the Lost Alliance. Jake Delahuey, who we had on stream for the first game of the tournament against Adam, which was a super good game. So to see this list in action, it also won Best Painted, and it looked super good on the stream. But it was a list led by Elendil with Eristor and a Rivendell captain, 40 models, 2 banners. I was saying on the stream, I think Last Alliance is sort of being slept on a little bit. Like, I get it's sort of lost some things from the last edition, like something's been nerfed, like Eristor and stuff. But go on.
It makes a massive difference if your event allows legacies or not for Last Alliance. So, because basically Eristor exists in Legacy, and it means that you can take the the cheaper option, as it were. And so you can get the model count up and stuff like that.
I think sort of most events are allowing legacies, like at least here in the UK. But kind of as a named hero.
But as in since I know it feels like it's been quite a while now since sure. So I think that was the thing that was holding it back.
But there were still sort of like, I think still, because obviously this is just under 800, and I mean you can get a similar sort of list by going with 2 named heroes, like Elrond, a Isildur, and a captain or something. You can get similar-ish sort of models if you sort of because Jake has taken the 2 banners as well, which is more points. But obviously having the 2 cheaper options that you can take in Eristor.
Wow, so cheaper, wasn't it? Wasn't it Elendil you said?
Yes, yeah, and yeah, you could go even cheaper. You could take Isildur. So
yeah, but then Elendil, like, there's a bit of a theme actually. The free heroic combats, because the Balrog has free heroic combats as well.
Yes,
like is able just to churn through stuff. He's not going to be stopped.
Fight 8. That's a like really big buff to him this edition. Obviously, I don't think he's Fortified Spirit anymore, but obviously
he's magic resistant,
isn't it? Yeah, so he's resistant to magic now. But obviously,
but you're also less likely to face as much as you. So
and just being fight 8 is so good in all kinds of situations. I think it's being sort of slept on a little bit. I would think like if more top players were to be taking it, I think it would be doing pretty well. We just haven't really been seeing it that much. There's lots of other sorts of lists. I think sort of higher points.
Yeah, I think
does have a place.
Once you get towards the 800 points, it starts. Yeah, like a lot, as is often the case with elite armies, it starts moving up the tables. But also, Jake is a very good player. It's hard for me to admit that an American may be good at the game, but
I know. It's the only one. He is the only one over there because he came over here to sort of hang out with the other good players.
Actually, I was joking. I've been to I think something like 5 events this year, 6 events. Jake's been at 4 of them, and it's just
he doesn't live over here.
I don't even know if he's he's probably going to be able to apply for sort of citizenship soon or something like that.
Yes. He is flying back home though very soon. I believe so. This was, I think, maybe the last event in his European conquest, and he has done very, very well for sure. So, no, really, really glad to see the Last Alliance doing so well here. And shout out to all 3 of these players for doing so well.
Is this also the first time this year we've had 200s in a row where neither Jakob or Farmer have podiumed?
Wow. Maybe someone could fact check that.
I'm sure Farmer will let us know.
That may be the case, yes, on his spreadsheet, I'm sure. But anyway, so now we shall move on to News from the Mark, which is the segment where we take a look at the individual and team standings in the GBHL, as well as discuss any sort of recent news items from across MESBG. So kicking things off with the individual rankings, we have the John and John Partridge wheel continue to spin month on month. We have Denby overtaking John overtaking Denby, and now we have Denby knocking off John from the number 4 position. But we still have Connor in the Any Heroics sandwich. He was the filling last month, and he is still in there again this month. But it is Denby only 0.5 points behind, or is that 0.4? 0.5 points.
0.5
behind. Yes.
Yeah. So Denby
position
was looking slightly struggling in the race for 3rd, but with having a 2nd and a 1st back to back.
1st and a 2nd last month.
Yeah, it's thrown him right back into that.
Right back in there. So these last events. Now we'll come to the team rankings in a moment, but go on, what were you going to say?
As I say, and to be honest, when you're that close, where it's only 0.5, it's anyone's game between those 2. Although it does look more and more unlikely, unless if either John or Tom, or any of the Toms actually. We've got 3 Toms in a row. 6th, 7th, and 8th.
They need some other sort of.
They need a winner under their belt.
Some
I think.
Really good positions. To sort of get back up into that race. But even so, with Connor and Denby, I mean, now at this point, kind of even maybe get in a 6th instead of a 5th or something, like, could be the difference between slightly improving one of,
I think now,
their 6th score.
Both of them are looking at, they have to score over 90 to do like any improvements.
But like even sort of not coming on the podium, it could still slightly improve your score.
Yeah, possibly depending on the size of the event.
When it's that close. Yeah, exactly. So really, really close. And then the sort of other changes in the top 10, we have Tom McConnell, Natalie Pearson, who we spoke about earlier, and Miles all coming up into the top 10. So I think it's Tom's and Natalie's first appearance here this year, or maybe Tom was in there previously.
Since anyway, we've had like 6 tournament scores from a large group of people.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Miles was here earlier in the year, but he's come back up into the
Miles, who was the Masters winner.
Yes, I think that's when he jumped up. Yeah.
So does that mean Jasmine's been knocked back out of the top 10.
Yeah, Jasmine. I'm not sure who else it was. I do remember Jasmine was there last month, but yeah, a few people sort of falling down very slightly. But I guess we should address the elephant in the room that while the Gollum's gamers still remain in the top position, fear not, loyal viewers, listeners, we hold the title, but by the very skin of our teeth, as the mighty Any Heroics are storming right up behind us now with what we are 1.7 something points ahead. It's very close. We had like a comfortable 10 or 12 point lead, I think, which is quite a lot. Only something like, getting a first and a second super close together would jump you up that far in a month, and that is exactly what's happened. So it's really what they needed, and they've got it done. Your thoughts on the Any Heroics Gollum's Gamers race here, Ali?
It's nice that we're making it look close.
I wish I could say I sounded so confident. I mean, we've fallen stagnant.
A bit like the third place thing. It's kind of it's now at the point where no one can get an easy jump large points. It's going to be 1 point here, 2 points there, sort of. That will make the difference of improvement.
But still, so, it's just.
I mean, do you think we can rely on an Ashley Woogler random second victory?
Ash's got Ash's second score is like 70 something.
I know, that's what I mean. He's the one horrendous. Which you're there going. Should be able to get another podium, Ash, surely.
I know. Well,
and if we don't win the league, I'm going to blame Ash.
I think so as well. If he doesn't improve that score, he is currently the captain, I believe. So and I think he would probably take some responsibility as well. Yeah, it must be. I don't know. It's been too focused on TOing. But yeah, I think Farm was saying there's like 6 or maybe 700s left. Obviously, one of them's in Northern Ireland, one of them's in Scotland. So we are going to a fair amount of them, but not all of them. So these last few hundreds are going to be sort of really, really tight indeed for the sort of rankings overall. Now, so the rest of the team rankings. So we have Oliphant and Castle.
I love that name. I want to know who's in Oliphant and Castle.
It's I thought it was Ollie from the Hampshire Hammers. He may be watching, and I may have got that completely wrong.
I don't know.
I think
if you're a member of Oliphant and Castle, let us know.
Because he was in the Lemon Cup live stream the other day saying that it was the Oliphant the Oliphant Cup event is happening, and I think it's Ollie at the Hampshire Hammers. Although, if I've got that wrong, I apologise. But yes, I assume that is his team. So they have snuck up into 10th. But the emergency podcast worthy news this month is that Team Knots have been knocked off of their 4th place position by a team that wasn't even in the top 10 for this entire year.
Do you mean they've been knocked off their 3rd place position into 4th?
Sorry, off of their 3rd into 4th. By a team that wasn't in the top 10 this year. One team to rule them all. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth could something like that happen? How could you just jump from somewhere outside the top 10 into 3rd? Well, it's happened because of the GBHL summer transfer window. So basically, at the 6-month point in the league, there's a transfer window where you can sign new players onto your team. So this team signed Adam Bird, Richard Spencer, Jake Deluhy, and Matt Light to their team. So those 4 players now contribute 7 of the total 10 scores that are putting them into that 3rd place position. So before this summer transfer window, they didn't have those 7 scores, but they've sort of imported them into their team, and now they've jumped up into the 3rd place position. So, Ali, your thoughts on that, first of all?
I mean, does that make them more of a mercenary team than Denby and his hardcore recruitment of Any Heroics? I'll let the viewers decide.
But that happened at the start of the year, everyone is, forming teams, and then you lock in your team, and then right, this is the squad we're rolling with. But that isn't what's happened here.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see whether Jake obviously probably can't get to that many, but whether it starts getting Matt Light to go, oh, you know what, I'll go to 1 or 2 more events.
It might do. Jake's going home now, so I doubt he'll be coming back for.
No, they're getting back over at Christmas for the league finale or something like that.
Maybe so. Yeah, they could all chip in for the plane ticket.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact is they're actually 19 points ahead of Team Knots, and they're closer to us than they are to 4th place in their points tally.
Yes. So it's harder to make up that deficit.
Yeah, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that progresses. But it has completely thrown a spanner into that race for third place, which
it has.
Team Knots did look like they had nailed down for a little while.
Well, even Ali for first and second place. I mean, are you not feeling? There's a team that has suddenly jumped up into our realm here.
I don't know. I don't look beyond second place, so
okay.
It's too far down.
The king
us,
says
isn't
from
it?
his throne here. But no, it's we were talking about this on the stream a fair amount, and sort of my sort of view on it is that those players, they got some really really good scores, well deserved and everything, but when they got those scores, they weren't flying the banner, the colours of one team to rule them all. So you can't now sort of say, "Oh no, actually, we were part of this team when I got that score."
It is worth pointing out that you can't join a new team if you were already in a team. So they were unassigned.
They were not in a team. They got some really good scores, but it's just, should you be able to just join a team and add in your scores? I didn't think that's how it worked, but it clearly does. Now, we've done some sort of investigating with some people in the league and such, and it is to our understanding that this is being reviewed sort of very closely. So whether this will be a thing next year, I would hope not. And
it kind of goes both ways. Like, I can see because one, it's there going. Usually, most of the players that you assume will be top players are already assigned to a team.
But
it's better that they create a new team, I think, than say we had a space in Gollum's Gamers or AnyWorks, and then we recruited one of them.
Well, but this is the thing. This is the thing. So, someone actually pointed this out sort of in the stream. That say your top teams or the teams that are aspiring to do super well in the league, does it almost promote them to leave spots unoccupied until this summer transfer window to see which players potentially have good scores?
So what you're saying is we don't put you in the team next year, and then we see if there's a space.
Maybe that would bump us up. Yeah, sure. But you get the point of maybe it promotes that, and then everyone just fights to get those scores on your team. Like maybe it shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, how they've done it, I don't actually have anything wrong with it. I think someone joining a team, because it's one of those ones where if you're doing it just to protect the top teams, you then deny people the chance to form a team who've maybe only just started playing in the league this year and didn't know about it.
No, I just think that if you're sort of the scores that you've earned before you were on the team shouldn't count towards your new team. Like, you can still participate in the team's thing, but just it starts from when you join the team.
That's possibly the fairest way to do it.
And that might be, because I thought that's how it did work. But so anyway, for this year at least, and I mean,
let us know whether
your views. And I mean, those are the rules currently in the league, so the players have used those rules. Totally fair enough that they've done that. I would personally like to see a change for next year, but we will see what happens with that. Those are the team rankings. Squeaky bum time indeed for the Gollum's Gamers, but the race part 2 coming soon, potentially. Who knows?
Was it part 2? Or is it part 4 by now? With the amount of times you've used that.
Well, I haven't. There was only one race podcast. If you want to find out what the race is, go back and search on our channel. It's a very lemon 4-hour podcast, almost. But we shall move on in news from the Mark to sort of some other news. It was quite a big sort of month in terms of pre-orders and things like that. So I think last month we talked about the Helm Hammer model, the box of 3 plastic heroes from the War of the Rohirrim, all that sort of stuff. But what we didn't really talk about too much, I don't think, was the actual new supplement book itself, which has now come out. So obviously we haven't seen it yet, but we sort of know roughly what's in it. So what are your thoughts kind of on that mini supplement?
It's basically completing War of the Rohirrim, isn't it? It's sort of the stuff that we should have got at the time. So it's nice that we have it now.
Searches up the Warhammer community article to see exactly.
Definitely.
What is it?
I wasn't thinking we were going to start with this one.
Oh. Okay. Well, So it's essentially like the narrative scenarios. So it's very much like the supplements usually have things in them for people that aren't interested in match play. But then they also have things in them, new lists and things like that, new profiles, which people are interested in who maybe aren't interested in the narrative stuff, where this supplement doesn't have that. It's purely sort of a narrative thing. So,
which is good, because it did seem weird we didn't have any of that. Like, as in, for nearly every film that we had released, we've then had like the journey books or something like that, so you can play the film, as it were, so you can go through and do all those scenarios.
And like, I guess it would be, because they brought out those army lists for the War of the Rohirrim in the armies books anyway, so why would they sort of, there aren't more army lists to add in? I mean, would it have been more weird if they didn't have any of the War of the Rohirrim stuff in the armies of the Lord of the Rings, and they put it all in the supplement? Considering the whole point of the armies books is that it's only meant to represent the things that are in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, putting the Lord of the Rohirrim stuff in the armies of the Lord of the Rings, it doesn't actually make that much sense. That does sort of
I imagine it. I mean, that split I always thought was more to do with licensing.
But I guess they wanted it to come out with the release of the new edition, with the new army box and things. So, but you would traditionally expect to see the War of the Rohirrim lists in the supplement, but so it's only sort of a narrative thing.
The other thing to mention about the sort of article and the announcement that released is that I do remember it did make people for a very short while think we were getting a new Mimikill kit.
Yes, it did. Now, when I saw it, I opened up my phone and obviously I see the image there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the Mochi podcast. But then I read a little bit deeper, and no, it was just a conversion, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it
did very much
explain the supplement, but which is interesting actually, because GW had for a long time veered away from. They used to always have hobby how to convert and make these models articles, and then they went but
it would be specifically like an article. They have like the community spotlight articles or something to that nature they've had previously, but obviously this wasn't that. They just like added it in without much explanation on exactly what it was. So interesting that they decided to do that. But anyway, hopefully everyone who enjoys the narrative sort of stuff about the game would enjoy that. Will we ever see a supplement that's purely match play stuff? I'm not so sure on that. But anyway, then also coming out with the book there and all the new models, we have the dice as well. Ali, what are your views on the rounded versus square dice saga?
Honestly, don't care.
Ali, have an opinion.
I mean, I'm not a dice person. Like, in terms of, I like having some dice, but like some people get obsessed with it. For me,
someone sat there stroking their Games Workshop. Your brother, actually,
he's quite
collection.
into getting all of the dice. But no, I think I like how they look. Yep, that's about all.
Are you all of
the comments
I've White Hand
got on
list? With the White Hand, the Wildman fucking dice or whatever, with a Crabane on, which I found very amusing as well.
Oh yeah, it's almost like they know.
They just know what's happening. And it's like, what, the second Rohan dice set that we've had in like 2 years?
I mean, when the supplement is War of the Rohirrim, I kind of will forgive them on that.
It's fair enough, but like, come on. There's other factions out there, They brought out the Fiefdoms ones, I guess, which people probably didn't.
Yeah, that was quite neat that we had that.
Cool. But it seems like now, just moving forward, it's going to be purely rounded dice, which does sort of make me sad, to be fair. So.
Okay, to give an opinion, I do actually prefer often slightly rounded dice because I think they roll nicer. Because I'll put it this way, and this isn't like actually saying that the cheating thing. If you don't fully roll the square dice and they just sort of flop off the hand,
plonk, down,
like, and it lands on a 6, it's a bit more triggering than if they actually roll.
Yes, no, you are right on that. I've seen that happen. I'm like, that didn't actually roll. Re-roll, but obviously not. But fine. And then the final sort of thing here. Little surprise on the pre-order morning was Theodred. Now, they had announced that Theodred was going to be coming out, or they'd announced it in an article.
Had they announced it, or like had it just
an article
spotted in the background, and then they kind of were like...
No, so there was that, but I thought it was in an article, or was it not in an article?
Because I don't think we ever saw a good picture of it, until the pre-orders.
I thought it was in an article, they just hadn't included it for this lot of pre-orders. So, okay, interesting. So, if there was no article, then that is way worse.
No, because... We had the FAQ had added the option of the shield onto Fair Trade.
Oh, right.
But I don't think we had an official announcement. Someone can probably correct me if
so
we're wrong,
no official announcement. Yeah, because there was the snippet from the book, and we were like, "That's a new model."
Yeah.
So if they just maybe they realized, oh, okay, so because we fucked up with leaking him already, we can't really do an announcement now. So we'll just put him up for pre-order.
it may literally just be that. Like, I don't know how they.
If it was that's
made.
really funny. If it was not that and it was a mistake to let it slip in, that's even more funny, because across all these different versions of the web store with from your local area, wherever you are in the world, to have it slip through on all those different places and stuff is just that is quite funny indeed. So, but what do you think on the model itself?
I actually really like it.
Theodore quite a lot.
Yeah, I've got a converted Fairtrade, and I really like the model. It feels less chunky than a lot of the sort of models that we've been getting recently, which I like. It makes it look like he is a young Prince of Rohan. And I know some people probably still have been criticizing the paint job on it and stuff like that. I was like, they actually look like they've done a reasonable good painting on it for the most part to me.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of the on-foot one. I think I said on the stream
the running
I
pose.
Didn't mind it.
Yeah,
but it does look it reminds me of how static the mounted version was, with the sword up. It just looks like the old mounted version, but now he's got legs. Sort of. It gives me that kind of vibe. Everything is cool, but
the mounted one I really like. The foot
mounted one is nice.
I do get what you mean. It is a little bit. I feel like it is actually expressing what his character is meant to be in terms of just recklessly charging in. But I tend to prefer a bit more static-y pose than moving, which is why I really like the mounted
stoic one. So it's nice, but
out of all the heroes we've had recently announced, that mounted Fairtrade model was actually probably my favourite.
Yes, no, it's up there for sure. Obviously, the Imra Hill was super nice. The plastic, that was very, very nice. But it was just very interesting to see it suddenly added in there. But there you go, mistakes happen, I guess. So we shall leave it there though for news from the mark, and we shall move on to the upcoming events. GBHO 100s coming up in October. So we have in Northern Ireland, I believe it's in Northern Ireland. Hopefully it's not actually in Ireland. I'm sure the Irish will be coming for me in the comments.
Right, but they're going to come for you now because you said that you hope the event isn't in actual
but I said
Republic
it was
of Ireland
before, but then what if I said it again? What if I doubled down? I know, I was concerned. Anyway, we have Numbers Beyond Reckoning, which is a 1,000 point event. Now, I can actually find how many games it was, because you needed to be part of the Irish Hobbit League in order to see the event pack. So as far as I got it's 1,000 points, but it's probably 6 games, I'd assume. Could be 5. But
maybe 1,000
points. Now, knowing the Irish, there could be some quirky sort of rules in there.
I think they're using I've forgotten what they call it. It's the sort of metric of the amount of VPs that you score versus the amount that you concede to influence the amount of TPs you get.
I see. Yes, and then you work it out. Fine.
They're a fan of that very confusing system.
Making things confusing, yes. And then we have the Lord of the Imps, which is going on later in October as well, which I will be going to along with other members from the team as well. But Ali is not. He has wrote us this Army of Gundabad list here. Now, it's worth noting that each player will actually be taking 2 lists to this event, as day 1 is 850 points, but then day 2 you have to drop 250 points worth of stuff from your list, and then you have a 600 point list for day 2. So you can't add in anything else, you just cut 250 points. Now, the scenarios for this are actually sort of confirmed before the event. So the scenarios on day 1 for your 850 point list is Seize the Imp, which is essentially seize the prize with some variations there, as it's Lord of the Imps.
The prize may escape. It's only one prize though, so it's more like last editions. Not seize the prize, not the current seize the prizes.
Yes. Game 2 is Destroyed Supplies, and then Game 3 is the Imp's Curse, which is a variation of the double scenario where you have your leader's warband start in the middle, and then the rest of your opponent's army comes on behind your leader, and then vice versa as well. So the leaders are sort of sandwiched between the rest of the two armies, which come on from the other board edges. So that's day 1, and then on day 2, it is the Imps Champion, which is essentially Contest of Champions, but it's like last edition, where it can only be your leader, so you can't pick a champion now. For this variation, the Sights of Power and Fog of War are the day 2 scenarios for 600 points. So, Ali, talk to us about your 850 point list here, your 33 model Army of Gundabad list.
Yeah, so
yeah.
On the face of it, it's a bit of a weird list, but it is playing into the day 1 scenarios a little bit.
I can't wait for you to send it to us.
To go through it, it's essentially Bolg, 2 captains, then 2 troll brutes, and 24 Gundabad warriors, half of shield, half of sphere.
Yeah. And 2 bats.
So it's a low model count. But, and 2 war bats, which are very good. So like Bolg is great. He's fight 7, he's killy, he'll smash things, and then he gets better as the game goes on.
He does.
Gundabad warriors are fight 4 now. So you got the D6 front rank and strength 4. They're like solid. They're sort of basically are just Urukai these days. The war bats are nice for sort of harassing objectives and models, peeling away spear sports. They're not quite Crabane, but you can use them in a similar sort of way. And then the troll brutes are strength 10 trampling machines, essentially, which is
trampling machines.
Yeah, which is quite key in this sort of list. So game 1, because it's essentially sees the prize variant, everyone's running to the middle. So you probably don't have to worry about shooting that much. Nearly every model in this army has March, plus the army bonus gives you March every other turn that you want. And if everyone's running to the middle, and then you've got 2 giant troll brutes who are also running to the middle, who then start squishing stuff, you can have a good day. Yeah. Okay. And so hopefully after a turn or 2, that model count disadvantage between the troll brutes and Bolg will begin to disappear. Okay. So unless you're facing wind lances, or actually no, because did the troll brutes get insta killed? I don't think they do, because they're warbees. I can't remember actually on that. But they're actually not terrible in combat. Obviously, they're not as good as most things, but they're still fight 5 free attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the main thing you're doing is squishing.
Yes. What about the other 2 scenarios, day 1?
So
destroy
the supplies. This is probably the weaker one because you don't have a real banner. You don't have a high model count, so you'll be focusing on just going around and destroying the enemy scenarios.
But you could sit there and be shot potentially.
Yeah. You've got some D6 and stuff like that. It's one though where, because the first scenario is Caesar prizes, which doesn't favour shooting armies,
are people going to be taking?
Yeah. And you can then kind of also, with the scenario, like, you can kind of take a risk going into game in the first 2 games, I think, and having your bad scenario, because you've got a higher chance of not playing one of the other like really top players. And also scenario 1, if you assume a heavy shooting list may struggle in that one, then and you will win, fingers crossed. You can be there going, cool, I'll hopefully avoid playing them going into this next scenario.
And it's also well, because the third scenario as well is also one where you're not going to want to sit there and shoot, because you need to go and help your leader's warband that is sat in the middle of the board. And I guess running 2 troll brutes towards them.
Yeah. Well, the 2 troll brutes are in the leader's warband, because you can do this.
Oh, of course. Oh, yes, fine.
So this is why they're in Bolg's warband, because essentially you deploy in the middle, and then you've got 2 troll brutes that immediately can trample your enemy's warband and crush them before they get any help or stuff like that. So that's probably going to be the strongest scenario for this army, is when they just pincer, squish.
I do concede to that point there. That would be quite funny as well, because you've got maximum 18 troops and you've got Bolg and 2 troll brutes there. That's quite funny.
And your reinforcing army, depending if you win or lose priority,
you're marching
stuff like that. You can march up. I mean, the captains have march anyway. The warbats can make up that distance pretty quickly if you need their help. So
they're their turn too.
So yeah, scenario 3, should be its strongest scenario. And then
all right. So
once you've won those 3 games,
yeah, you're 3-0. You're looking good, but then you slim down to your 600-point variant here.
Yeah.
So you've cut the troll brutes.
Yeah, you basically have to lose the troll brutes. So you lose the really fun shenanigans, and then you lose one other model.
Oh
yeah,
one
Gunnabad Orc with spear.
So day 2, you're 28 models at 600 points, Ali. Do you think that will cut the mustard?
It can do. So unlike when we've talked about low point lists, so 600 is kind of the borderline between when you not quite as low kind of you're playing contest of scenarios, contest of champions, which is not favorable for hordes generally anyway. So it kind of counters that low issue with model count meta. Bolg is going to be there are a few heroes out there which will be able to reliably go toe to toe with Bolg or out
if he can stay on his Warg. But
even if he's not, he can still reliably kill 2 models a turn because he's strength 5 plus 1 to wound. And once the aim is he should be killing a lot. And once he does, he gets better. You then also have the 2 Warbats. So you have the chance of being a nuisance to enemy leaders if they're not mounted. So you can then knock them prone and then take them out of a turn's worth of killing or stuff like that. So there will be some better contest champions in this, but it's got an advantage and it's got some tricks to help you out.
The bats would also be helpful in the sites of power, which is next.
Yep.
They would be helpful for sort of contesting the sites late game.
Yeah.
Because you can deny VPs just by getting, something in range of a site. So every 12-inch flyer, that's obviously quite easy to do.
Yeah, and again, in all of these, you've got all the army bonuses, which we've mentioned, the sort of march, but you've got board wild banner, and then when you break your enemy, you've got the +2, -2 courage sort of thing. So it definitely has stuff going for it. And I think once you get to this point, the armies that will be doing well will probably be the ones which aren't outnumbering you as much.
Maybe so. Okay, and then finally, Fog of War.
Fog of War, it's Fog of War, so it's kind of there going. The bats can do all right in Fog of War and help with that in terms of you've only got 2, but they're still a nuisance.
Fog is where you could be. You could end up getting outshot. Now, like we said, it could be there's a situation where, but the list that I'm taking is going to be having shooting, specifically because I think that, in the...
Spoilers.
Yes, well, that I might be taking because there are sort of 2 of the 6, maybe even sort of 3 in Heights of Power if you deploy sort of across the other side of the board. It's also the Dark of Night in that scenario as well. So 2, maybe 3 of the scenarios you could heavily rely on the shooting if you outshoot your opponent. So having it for those scenarios, especially here game 6, could be super, super good. So this could struggle with that potentially, but it's all about matchups, I guess.
But again, the front rank is still D6, so unless it's crossbow shooting.
It's kind of shit that the Gundabad Orc Warriors lost the
shield and spear option, which they shouldn't really, because they had the conversion kit with the extra shields as well.
They're not modelled on there, and I just
Well, but then you've got the banner and shield option for them. Which came from that same conversion kit. So I feel like actually they should have had still retained the spear and shield.
The fact that this is the world we now live in, where I really don't like it. It just takes away some of the the conversions, the unique things that you could make. It
is worth pointing out though that actually Fight 4 Strength 4 with a D6 front line.
It's a super solid place to be.
And I think it's
calling for that last edition.
I think it's just kind of slightly overlooked. It's one of the armies everyone's like, I think I want to use that at some point, but either because cost is prohibitive or it's not quite as obviously flashy and stuff like that. We haven't seen it loads. Like people turn up with the monsters, which at low points kind of cuts into your model count too much. And
no high points, but there's lots more sort of newer, flashier things at high points that I think people are wanting to use. Like I fall into that category where I do want to use it, but I don't own any troll brutes. But there's lots of other things. I haven't even tried out Emperor at an event yet this year, and I want to do that. So there's just other things that people are trying out. So okay, well, that'll do it for the upcoming events for October. Now, heading into our final segment here. Now, we've made the decision to axe the one question to rule them all segment. But instead, we have the one ring. But now we have the one profile, baby, where each month Ali and I will be reviewing a particular profile of interest. And for month one, we're going to be discussing the Witch King. You know him, you love him, you hate him, potentially as well. But how is he faring in the new edition? Well, that is what we are here to discuss. Ali, so we're going to run through the profile here. The first kind of thing that stands out, new edition Witch King. He's fight 6. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's actually he's one of the heroes that got the buff, the fight value buff as the hero expansion happened. Obviously,
Yes.
there are heroes that were fight 6 are now fight 7, but
yes, which I like to see. I'm not gonna lie, I like fight 6 Witch King. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it makes sense and it distinguishes him from
That
the
sort
other
of
ring
tier.
race and sort of
Yes.
It always felt weird having the biggest, baddest guy from
Yeah, the
Mordor
leader
be
still
the same fight as what would have been a
the
Minister of
others.
Captain this edition. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
and then like one Uruk-hai Scout Captain is the same fight
Yeah.
as the Witch King.
yeah. So that's a nice low buff.
Yeah. And then the rest of the profile, kind of nothing else has really changed in terms of the stat line. He's got the same sort of keywords and things. Courage, he's got a 4+ intelligence. That obviously wasn't there last edition. Has his heroics changed? I don't think so. I think
No,
it
looks the same
He's
to
got
me.
challenge, resolve, strength, which is obviously better now, so there's more play for that potentially, and heroic
Yeah.
strike. But the real sort of changes come in on the second page. So here, where it breaks down kind of the points values that you can take him at, and he has sort of scaling amounts of attacks, might, will, and fate. Which lists can you actually pick? I was trying to think of this earlier because in Minas Morgul, for example, you can't pick. So
It's a great eye. He has to be the 150 as well.
But that's what I'm saying. So can you?
Yeah.
Is there a list where you can actually choose of those
Probably the
three?
Black Riders and the
Black
Racial
Riders, maybe.
Wings,
Okay.
probably.
I haven't checked that. Okay.
I'm not 100%
yeah.
sure, but yeah. Generally, it
Yeah.
ends up having to be the
It lists them all there.
150.1.
Yes, which comes with 18 will. Now it's just interesting. It is quite a big change because from
Black Riders, he's 121.
Okay. So yeah, so maybe it's just listing them all there as there are the options, but it's not that there's anywhere where you can actually pick from them all.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting though from last edition where you could kind of build him to whichever variety you liked, where now they're saying these are the options, you will get to pick from one of them that we will tell you which you can pick from, which obviously has its drawbacks because you could take like a really good budget Witch King with 2 Fae and just the right amount of will, but it does change in quite a good way, I think, sort of when there's lots of these lists which are really good, like Minas Morgul.
Yeah, I was to say it makes him have to play by the same rules that everyone else does in terms of you can't slowly fiddle with your list to make him optimal if you need to drop 5 points or
fair. It was just like a nice and unique thing. But just what I was saying there. So it's just where now you have the 18 will in sort of lists like Minas Morgul, and you're told that is the only way that you can play this. But I think it's a nice sort of place to be in because it's sort of you have all this extra will to be more offensive with, and you don't have to sort of conserve it as much, and sort of maybe it's worse in the sense that as a player you don't have to micromanage it quite as much as you can be a bit more, there's more room for error. But I think having more to play with and you're forced into that, I think is quite a fun thing as well at the same time.
Yeah. But, no, I think this is a better way of doing it in terms of game balance. It is part of the reason why you don't see him as much as you used to is because he can't just fit into every single points. And
you can't just take him in lots of different lists. So which is something that we'll come on to in a moment as well. But so in terms of the options he can take, so he could take Armor Fell Beast, a normal Fell Beast, the Crown of Morgul, which we'll come on to, a horse, a Morgul Blade, and a 2-handed weapon. So the Morgul Blade is the same as it was last edition?
Close enough anyway.
Yeah. So
you kill an enemy model automatically.
But with things like, Balrogs and stuff, being around dragons, all this sort of stuff. Like
gone up by 5 points, so I think it was 5 points last edition.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah. So there's more sort of play there potentially.
Yeah.
You know, it has more impact than it did last edition. I guess before we move on to the Fell Beast, should we talk about the crown?
Yeah.
The crown is no longer. So now it does not give you the reroll. Sorry, it wasn't a reroll. Was it a reroll? It was a reroll.
Yeah, it was a reroll to cast and resist.
So now it's that enemy models within 6 inches of the Witch King that are attempting to charge the Witch King can't benefit from special rules that would allow them to automatically pass courage tests. Oh, sorry, but is that also saying when you're not trying to charge the Witch King as well? I think it's just anyone within 6 that's trying to charge something.
Yeah, because it could be one's outside of 6, but it's got like movement 10. They could try and charge the Witch King. So it's there going.
Only for the Witch King though, or is it?
No, it doesn't
look
look like
it's for say trolls or black nuns or whatever it is.
Maybe models in this Minas Morgul list.
Yes, with the exception
or
of
Angmar. Actually.
Heroic Resolve, and also once per game at the start of any fight phase, he can light the sword on fire, as it were, with the crown, and until the end of the turn, any model that suffers a wound from a strike is set ablaze by the Witch King. So that is a 25-point upgrade there. Ali King, will you be taking the Crown of Morgul with your Witch King?
No.
And
shall I tell you what, like, annoyingly, actually, because I just had a look, the one list where you may want to take him in, I'm pretty sure would be the Host of the Witch King, where you make your Orcs cause terror, and he can't take the Crown of Morgul in it, from what I can tell. I am only looking at Tabletop Admiral, so if there's an error on here, I'm putting faith in it. But and otherwise, it's there going. You're not really for 25 points. That is not worth it at all.
It's just not worth it now. And like we knew they were, going to nerf it. We just didn't know how much. And they've just sort of made it really bad. Now, one thing that I said that we were going to move on to is, certain lists that you can take the Witch King in, and it's so disappointing, I think, that in the Legions of Mordor list, which isn't something we've seen too much of, which is like the evil version of Defenders of the Pelennor on the good side, where she's got so many different options and stuff, that they have forced the Witch King in that list to take the Crown of Morgul and an Armoured Fell Beast, which, for narrative purposes, I understand he had maybe an Armoured Fell Beast and the Crown of Morgul, but it's a lot of points. He's 245 points in that list on Fell Beast, which is just, it sucks so much out of the options that you have. Where in Minas Morgul you can take him on a Fell Beast, or he comes on a Fell Beast, I think, in that list, for 200. So it's just an extra 50 points you're paying for an Armor Fell Beast and a Crown of Morgul, and it just really sucks.
Well, it's not all bad news in a sense, is because the Witch King does. We didn't mention it in the profile stats, but he does have 3 attacks now, and so which you used to only get from the crown. So it's part of why the crown's redundant, because it's like, half the reason there were 2 reasons you took it. It was one to get 3 attacks and one to get magic rerolls, and it doesn't do either of those now.
No, it's something completely different, but what it does for the points is just sort of useless, and they force you to take it in a list, which I would really like to use, because I want to use the Witch King Fell Beast, but I don't really want to play Minas Morgul, so I'm like, he's on a Fell Beast in Legions of Mordor. If he didn't have to take the crown, it was only the Armoured Fell Beast, it wouldn't be that bad. It's a 20-point difference, but having to take the crown as well is just, it's just really not that good. 245 points for a Witch King Fell Beast, even though he's good, is a hell of a lot of points. It's just far too many. So I think that's.
You can take Witch King of Agmar and the Army of the Great Eye on Fell Beast without the crown.
I'm totally misinformed. Maybe you can. Okay, fine.
Again, according to you're getting that plug here. I think it's actually from Tabletop Admiral. But if you're wrong, it's going to be a bad plug.
Well, his lists are shown on all of our content, and it says at the bottom produced by Tabletop Admiral. So people are sent there regularly. So but I'm sure that is correct. Okay, so I am misinformed. That's fair enough. I'll just have a little.
But it's part of the reason why Army of the Great Eye is the better. Those two.
The mishmash of stuff.
You get a cooler army bonus as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, and then finally, I guess we have the Felbeast, the improved, or is it improved? Because obviously now there was the FAQ last edition where they could be shot easier, but they're dominant 3. Your thoughts on improved Felbeasts?
So the dominant 3 doesn't make too much difference because the Witch King's probably your leader.
Witch King as well, yes. Yeah. Fair.
So, but I mean, but the Witch King is fight 6, which is significant because it means you're beating 95% of troops in the game in the fight. So you can play the Witch King aggressively at that point, and having a flying mobile threat is very handy
with
and
compel.
Quite difficult to stop.
Spectres and stuff in Minas Morgul,
it gives you a genuine threat in a lot of these lists, like in Morgul and in Angmar. There's a limited amount of things that will scare an enemy hero. The Witch King on Felbeast can do that, especially
Fight
if he's
6
got
Witch King. With the magic and stuff is just really hard to play
around. The one thing that even back in the day, once you've got the Witch King on Felbeast, he is your leader and he is a linchpin of the army often. It can get you tempted to put him in dodgy positions where a bad roll could go against you.
You are those positions now as well.
You are still only 1 wound, but even with 3 fate, that's just a few bad rolls. So
and then also we didn't actually talk about his magic. So he has Compel, Transfix, Drain Courage, Enchanted Blades, which is new, Black Dart, Instill Fear, and Your Staff is Broken. So the changes there. So he has Enchanted Blades now. Black Dart's only 6 inches. Is there anything else I'm missing? Compel was a 4-up last edition.
Yeah, but now Compel is different.
So no Transfix.
So I mean, he's suffered in the same way Magic generally has. But he's still pretty good at doing Magic. And actually, because Magic isn't as prevalent, but monsters are becoming more prevalent, or big heroes are more prevalent again. It's almost,
if you have it, it's like
it's
really
actually
nice.
Still quite big because a lot of people aren't building to deal with it like they used to.
I think that's why we're seeing lists like Minas Morgul and things do good, because you're still going to be taking your Men of the West and things, your depths with your big scary thing, and I guess you're just hoping because there's not as much magic around that you might sort of dodge it. But
and your average player, if you're playing it against Magic less, will struggle to deal with it more than they otherwise would do, because it's just a bit different to say like 70% of the games that they're playing. So it's less effective, but potentially more likely to catch people out.
Yeah, because people aren't as much sort of like on their toes with facing it as you had to be last edition and stuff. So any more comments on the Witch King new edition? Witch King, the list it's in, or anything like that? I'm going to go have a little look at the Army of the Great Eye after this.
So I think it's one of those ones where people would maybe what they were saying had a fall for grace, but it's more from going from the most popular hero that appeared in nearly every single evil list going. He was always going to have some fall of grace. I still think he's actually very solid.
Agreed.
There's nothing wrong with his profile. It's a little bit more awkward getting him into some lists because you have to spend the 150 or whatever points it ends up being. You can't customize it. He can't go in every list. Map's taken a little bit of a nerf. But then monsters have gotten a bit better, and he comes with a monster. And because he is high intelligence as well for evil, he can actually reliably throw stuff around and stuff like that. So he's one of the better monster options. But I think it's just the model's innate weaknesses kind of feel a bit more prevalent because of your spending more points, or because you don't have those support mechanics where you did. But other than the Crown of Morgul, he's still pretty good.
I think he's still pretty good. All in all, he's just not seen quite as much as before. But there's a certain part of that as well, which is like the limitation with the lists that you can take him in. Who knows? Maybe if that wasn't there, we would still be seeing him, quite a lot.
I think if you're going to take him, Minas Morgul's really good.
With Spectres as well, like the combo there.
That list hasn't been dominating top tables, it's often seen around
It's been
there.
doing pretty, yeah, it's been doing pretty well still. So
I mean, it's again, it's not Depths of Moria or Usurper's a White
no,
Hand, but it's not far behind in terms
no,
of.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
then
Agreed. So
Army
we
of the
were,
Great. I was say,
go on.
Army of the Great I think is a very good list, especially if you're allowing legacies at your event. Um, and I think weirdly, it's just one of those ones where it's got so many options, and people again have been wanting to try other stuff that it's not had much play by sort of at least the top players
Yeah.
in the sort of
Is that the
show
Army
at
of
the
the Great
moment.
Eye?
Yeah.
Jakub used it, didn't he? Yeah, as part of his using different lists every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, and then just the Legions of Mordor is it's a really expensive option, and it's like, there's so many other options that you could use in that list.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
And Host of the Witch King is again solid.
of course, yes, we had that on the stream as well. Yeah, which I like that list. Yeah. So okay, we were going to be ranking these heroes each month, though, Ali. In our Gollum's Gamers tier list rankings, where would you be putting the Witch King?
I'm going to put him in Silly Nervous.
Yeah, he's definitely Silly Nervous. He's not quite Lemon.
No.
I think he's pretty near top of Silly Nervous, though. Like, maybe just underneath the very top, but like, he's still room for other heroes to slot in.
He's still arguably one of the best casters in the game.
Yes.
If he's on evil sort of hero, sort of in terms of offensive capability. And he appears in a few pretty solid lists. So for me, he's ticking like enough boxes that he's just Silly Nervous.
He's Silly Nervous, folks. There you go. You heard it here first. Well, let us know your rankings for the Witch King. Do you think he's still Lemon, as he was continuously last edition? He's not nervous. He is at least Silly Nervous, surely. But if you have an argument to tell us otherwise, let us know down in the comments. But okay, that is going to close out this first segment, the first month here of the one profile. We shall be back next month with a different profile to discuss, but that is going to close us out here. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this October edition of MESBG Monthly here from the Gollum's Gamers.